Hello, welcome. I just wanted to take a minute and commentate about what's been going on in GameStop. And so they're trying to paint the picture that a bunch of internet geeks and teenagers have crushed Wall Street and are causing all kinds of problems. And I'm just going to have to call BS on that. If there is a hedge fund that is massively short GameStop, they deserve to get crushed because this stock so obviously bottomed in the middle of 2020 that only a rank knucklehead amateur would be short this thing, especially going into this rally. And we're not talking about someone who may be shorting it now. I'm talking about any fool who was short this stock coming out of January 2020. Now let's just take a look at it. All right, so here we're looking at a daily chart of GameStop that goes back 5 years. This is a 5-year chart. GameStop peaked at the end of 2015 and has been in a pretty solid downtrend all the way up until 2019, about the middle of 2019. Okay, no question about that. In fact, if you'd have shorted GameStop back then, what you should have been doing if you were a big hedge fund who had any brains is closing your position into the decline. Probably this knucklehead money manager or a group of knucklehead money managers was shorting more stock into the decline. That's not how the business cycle works. These guys are boneheads. What you do when a stock goes into distribution is you put on your short position. And then when the markdown phase happens, the price begins to sell, you slowly close out those short positions so you don't get caught in a short squeeze 2 years later after the bottom happens. Now, how do I know that there's a bottom? I mean, how do I know this and the big Wall Street hedge traders didn't know this? Well, let me show you. Let's go on a 3-day chart, which is going to zoom in the price, and we're going to be able to look at something that is so obvious to anyone who's ever done any trading at all that this stock has bottomed. I mean, I'm actually appalled that anyone claiming to be a Wall Street professional would be short this stock into this rise. I mean, it's amazing. All right, let me get a little line here, and we're going to draw it on this chart. All right, now I just threw this line up. This is called a head and shoulders bottom. This is a trading pattern that has been recognized by stock investors since the 1900s. There's literally books in print that were written by people who were trading stocks in 1901 who described this as being a classic bottom or topping formation. Back in the end of 2019, right here on this dip, that's one of the shoulders. And if you look, there's a peak in volume. Doesn't get any better than that. That is such a classic bottoming activity that only a fool would be short this stock. Now, you're going to come into 2020, about the middle of the year again, you have another low. That's the head of the head and shoulders position. And on the head, you have a nice rise in volume. Again, this is classic bottoming activity. There's no question at all that if you're short this stock during this time period, you're a fool and you need to close it out. It doesn't have anything to do with fundamentals. Stocks trade in an auction environment. They don't trade based on earnings. They don't trade based on anything but the auction environment. So if you're trading stocks based on fundamentals or anything else like that, you're probably doing it wrong because that's not how they're priced. They're priced in an auction. It's excitement that creates stock prices, nothing else. And how do we know that for sure? Because GameStop, the smart people, were short this stock, and they stayed short in the middle of a head and shoulders bottom, which is classic auction market price activity that says prices are about to turn. So obviously they were wrong. Now, here's the final shoulder coming into the end of 2020. And again, look at all this volume in here. Massive amounts of volume. It's obvious that the character of this stock has changed and that the market is different. Now, it could be that everybody who's buying it is wrong and this company's going to go bankrupt next year, but that's not how stock prices are determined. Stock prices are determined in an auction, and that's it. Nothing else matters. Anybody who stayed short this stock, let's say after September of 2020, is a fool. And I hope their investors see this video and tear them apart, because there's no question this thing was going up. And if your position was so large that you couldn't unwind it, then you should have had enough sense to buy some call options so at least you could hedge your position out. These people who were short this stock deserve what they're getting. They deserve to be punished for this. Abject stupidity. Happy trading.